Guru Maharaj Sada Sahai. I am dedicating this next piece to Ramashram Satsang. Although this piece is reminiscence by Raghunathji. Topic is help is always given to those who seek it. I believe the most important foundational truth is that Tauji, that is Parampuj Yugi Purush, is always and has always been with us. In fact, the mantra that moves me forward, stick to the basics, is one that Tauji taught and I learned over time. He also makes certain that mistakes are stopped before they even begin. There are two instances in particular that illustrate how these teachings became clearer to me. One in Chicago in 2002 and other in Germany in 2006. In the summer of 2002, I was asked to speak about our satsang to a small gathering in Chicago, made up of professors from Purdue University. I was referred to them by a scientist from Pusa Institute whom I happened to meet by coincidence. I knew about Purdue's ranking as a top 10 engineering school in the US and realized that the small gathering of professors could very easily turn out to be a group of scholars and scientists. I was intimidated and nervous. In the past, I have given presentations to work colleagues, but public speaking about complex philosophical notions was a totally different ballgame. Not seeing any way out of my own, I called Tauji, Parampuche Yugapurush, who told me to go to Chicago unafraid, with the blessing that I would not make any mistake. I had faith in his blessing that all my future mistakes and errors in my speech would be blocked. In fact, the strength of Tauji's blessing empowered me to address all the questions that were asked during that gathering with the simplest and small comprehensive ideas possible. Being a recipient of a Yuga Purush guidance, I realized that he had closed the door against future mistakes. The next example was during 2006. While attending the Mathura Bhandara, Tauji asked me to visit Germany to talk about our satsang. I made extensive preparations for the seminar, meticulously writing papers and practicing speeches. Before boarding my flight to Cologne, Germany, I sent Tauji a final draft of my paper. Upon landing, I called Tauji to ask his opinion of what I had written. The paper is no good. This message was conveyed to me by Dr. J. S. Tyagiji, who happened to be with Tauji when I had called. I was devastated. I had poured more effort into preparing that paper than I had done preparing for any exam in my rather long student life. I did not know how to proceed. Back to drawing board. Nervousness took hold of me when suddenly a previous conversation I had with Tauji flashed before my eyes. After completing family business in Patna, I visited to Tauji in Mathura. While seated in front of me, he asked how I found the weekly satsang in Patna. I told him how the discourse used difficult concepts such as Sarupya, Sayujya, and Shalokya. Tauji smiled and said that scholastic prowess was being paraded about. In his soft voice, he continued, but you stick to the basics, only the basics. To me, the basic meant balance. Balance in life, balance between worldly activities and spiritual activities. Avoidance of tilt. In Germany, I realized that I had my answers. I needed to stick to the basics in the seminar, making ideas accessible for interested people to understand. An intricate discussion on philosophical treatises would not be useful to anyone, and by asking Tauji for his guidance, I finally understood this. In Germany, the seminars conducted were attempts to share the teachings of Guru Maharaj and guidance of Tauji. The first seminar was attended, among others by the president of the University of Applied Science in Koblenz, Dr. Peter Frings. President Frings said that he had expected that there would be an intensive presentation providing explanations about complex theories. But the process explained was quite simple, and that he would try to find his own balance based on what was said, which might help him to deal in a better way in his day to day affairs. To me, this is perhaps the essence of Tauji's teachings. The final seminar was given at Max Planck Institute of Biophysics in Frankfurt concerning the concept of dynamic balance as explained by Guru Maharaj. The seminar was attended by numerous scientists and was where Tauji's blessings prevailed. The attendees were very engaged with the topic and ultimately seemed to accept Guru Maharaj's concepts. During the question answer period, one topic of great interest was consciousness and its understanding by Western philosophers, materialistic and idealistic. The materialistic believed consciousness to be a product in a process arising when definite conditions are met and lost in the absence of those conditions. Thus, according to materialistic philosophers, consciousness is not the property of any single substance. The idealistic, on the other hand, believe consciousness to be the property of the mind, which forced them to the conclusion that consciousness must cease to exist whenever the mind becomes unconscious. Guru Maharaj's teaching reject both perspectives and instead purpose the difference between both viewpoints to being illusionary. I refer the audience, that is scientists, to work of Irwin Schrödinger with approximate Guru Maharaj's view eloquently in his work What is Life? After setting aside the idea of approaching consciousness through the lens of materialism or idealism, the only possible alternative is simply to keep the immediate experience that consciousness is a singular of which the plural is unknown, that there is only one thing, and that what seems to be a plurality is merely a series of different aspects of this one thing. Product by a deception, the Indian Maya, the illusion is produced in a gallery of mirrors, and in the same way, Gauri Shankar and Mount Everest turned out to be the same peak, seem even different valleys. The discussion in this seminar reached high levels, but remembering Tauji's words, I did my best to bring forth the relevant aspect of Guru Maharaj's teaching in the simplest way. I could feel Tauji present with me that day, which is how I was able to remember and articulate the philosophical aspect of Guru Maharaj's teachings. Once again, Tauji erased my mistakes before they could occur. With great humility, faith, and love, I realized that Tauji is always with all of us, willing to guide whenever we seek his help. Help is always given to those who seek it. Thank you.